Welcome to the new video of NeuroPhilos. Get ready to dive into a gripping tale that will leave you breathless, thinking, and inspired. Whether you're here for the mystery, the drama, or the unexpected twists, you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe so you never miss another powerful story. Let's begin *****, the illusion of control. Have you ever paused in the swift current of daily obligations to consider how much of your suffering springs from the relentless drive to control everything, even the parts of life that resist containment? From childhood, we are trained to conquer the external world, to excel at work, manage our finances precisely, and maintain unbroken routines that promise stability. Yet this outward mastery often masks a deeper compulsion, the internal demand for absolute certainty. The suffocating need to predict every twist of fate before it arrives. Imagine what it feels like to cradle perfect plans in your mind blueprints for each hour of the coming day, only to watch them shatter at the gentlest breeze of chance. Perhaps you lie awake at night running through mental checklists, wondering if an unforeseen email will derail your carefully mapped schedule, or if a stray comment at work will alter the trajectory of your career. Every ambiguity becomes a chasm into which your confidence threatens to tumble. You become a prisoner of hypotheticals, each scenario tightening like a noose around your mind. This obsession exacts a heavy toll on your well-being. Chronic muscle tension, disrupted sleep cycles, and a mind that buzzes with hypothetical disasters. Creativity atrophies when mental energy is consumed by guarding against remote possibilities. Relationships fray as loved ones grow weary of constant contingency planning. Even simple pleasures become tainted, replaced by vigilant anticipation, rather than genuine presence. In this state of perpetual preparedness, joy slips through your fingers like sand, leaving behind only stress and exhaustion. But here is a radical proposition. What if the real poison is not uncertainty itself, but your refusal to accept it? What if resisting the unpredictable gives it more power over you than any actual threat could? Imagine your anxiety as a great river. You erect a dam, piling instinctual barriers against the currents of chance. Initially, the structure holds, and you bask in the illusion of safety. Yet unseen pressure builds beneath the surface until small fissures begin to appear. Water seeps through cracks, undermining the dam's foundation until it cannot hold back. The surge of emotion and doubt, this river metaphor illuminates a silent truth about our lives. Anxiety is not an alien invader, but a natural response to an ever-changing world. Like water, life moves in unpredictable channels, carved by forces beyond our command. When we insist on impermeable defenses, we sacrifice the agility and responsiveness necessary to navigate reality. The paradox is that control, pursued with fervor, breeds rigidity that ultimately snaps under pressure. Conversely, when we learn to coexist with the flow, the stance of resistance gives way to a dynamic embrace, allowing us to move with life's unpredictable rhythms rather than against them. This journey of acceptance begins with awareness. The first step is deceptively simple. Notice when your mind tightens in the face of uncertainty. Perhaps your shoulders rise toward your ears when a meeting gets delayed, or your stomach churns when travel plans shift. Recognize these physical signals as they emerge before your thoughts swarm into worst-case scenarios. Then, pause and draw in a deep, steady breath. Inhale fully for a count of 4, hold for 2 counts, and exhale slowly until all tension releases. This conscious breathing anchors you in the present, creating a spacious gap between stimulus and response. Next, practice naming your fear. Articulate it quietly to yourself. I am afraid that I cannot predict what happens next. Hearing. The words gives shape to shapeless dread, transforming it from an amorphous threat into a clearly defined visitor in your mind. Once named, fear becomes less intimidating. Standing before it like a familiar face, you can study its features rather than flee in terror. This simple act of acknowledgement weakens fear's grip and opens space for curiosity. Following this, cultivate small rituals of flexibility. When plans change unexpectedly, resist the urge to label the event a catastrophe. Instead, view it as an opportunity for improvisation. If a canceled appointment frees an hour in your day, choose to wander outside, savor a coffee without hurry, or simply sit in silent observation. When technology glitches or travel detours arise, notice the invitation to experience unexpected discoveries and hidden delights. Over time, these micro-practices reprogram your nervous system, teaching you to respond not with contraction, but with open engagement. To deepen this transformation, weave curiosity into everyday life. When a conversation veers off script, ask open-ended questions instead of assuming outcomes. If deadlines shift, explore what creative breakthroughs the extra time might afford. Notice the lightness that arises when you treat surprises not as threats, but as invitations to learn something new about yourself and the world. This mindset shift gradually rewires your brain, placing the habit of contraction with one of exploration and discovery, creating a foundation for resilience and joy that no obstacle can erode in relinquishing the illusion of total control. Something remarkable occurs. Anxiety loses its dominion over your energy and attention. The world remains unpredictable, as it always has been, but your relationship with it evolves profoundly. No longer an adversary to vanquish, the unknown becomes a vital ally that keeps you alive to possibility. You begin to notice how your creativity rekindles when you let go of preconceptions, how your relationships deepen when you share authentic uncertainties, and how your presence in each moment grows richer with genuine engagement. The choice you face is clear. Continue the exhausting battle to dominate life's currents, or surrender with courage and discover the serenity that arises when you cease fighting what you cannot change. Embrace the dance of the river, and you may find peace not in certainty, but in the graceful acceptance of life's ever-unfolding mystery. Let this be the moment you step off the dam of fear and allow your spirit to flow with the current, living fully in each unpredictable moment. Montaigne's mirror. Michel de Montaigne lived at a time when Europe seethed with religious wars, political upheaval, and intellectual absolutism. Armies marched across France, while scholars and clerics vied to proclaim unassailable truths. Amid this turmoil, Montaigne undertook his most radical experiment not in public squares or university halls, but within the quiet confines of his own mind. Retreating to his family estate, he surrounded himself with books and began to write. Not to champion a doctrine, but to explore his innermost thoughts and feelings. In doing so, he transformed personal reflection into a philosophical art, holding up a mirror to the human soul that embraced contradiction, doubt, coup, and humility. Born in Bordeaux in 1533, Montaigne was heir to wealth and a classical education. He served as a soldier, magistrate, and mayor, learning firsthand the weight of civic duty and the fragility of human affairs. Yet, it was during long bouts of illness when fever and weakness confined him to bed that his most profound insights emerged. Armed with quill and paper, he recorded every fleeting impression, the pang of loneliness, the sting of envy, the sudden thrill of joy. He did not write to persuade others or assert intellectual dominance. He wrote to understand himself. This unsystematic, deeply personal method became the foundation of his celebrated essays. Montaigne's essays read like intimate conversations. He eschewed lofty rhetoric in favor of plain speech, peppering his prose with anecdotes drawn from daily life, classical literature, and his own memories. One moment he described a startled peasant tripping over a poor donkey. In the next, he launched into a meditation on the nature of vanity. This willingness to follow the mind's meandering, path-embracing digression, irony, and contradictions set him apart from his contemporaries. He confessed petty jealousies, admitted darker impulses, and explored his fears with unflinching honesty. Through these revelations, he invited readers to stand beside him at the edge of self-knowledge. Peering into the same depths, he examined. At the heart of Montaigne's project lay his famous refrain, "Que sais-je? What do I know?" Far from a mere rhetorical question, it functioned as a living mantra. Each time he asked it, he acknowledged the limits of his understanding and resisted the arrogance that so often accompanies certainty. By admitting ignorance, he opened his mind to new possibilities. He recognized that those who clung most tightly to fixed beliefs often became blind to nuance and compassion. In contrast, Montaigne's humility fostered empathy both for himself and for others. For him, admitting "I don't know" was not a defeat, but a doorway to genuine curiosity. Montaigne's stance stood in stark contrast to the dogmatic philosophies of his era. Others constructed elaborate systems of immutable truths only to see them calcify into ideological prisons or fuel religious fanaticism. Montaigne refused to impose his ideas. Instead, he offered them gently, always subject to revision. With each new edition of his essays, he revised or expanded passages, demonstrating that intellectual integrity requires the freedom to change one's mind. This dynamic openness earned him critics who accused him of inconsistency. Yet, Montaigne wore that label, proudly consistency, he believed, was the essence of rigidity, while adaptability signaled a mind alive to growth. The tone Montaigne struck in his writing feels remarkably modern. He addressed readers as confidants, blending solemn reflection with playful humor. In one passage, he chuckles at his own vanity over a fine coat. In another, he marvels at the refreshing taste of fresh strawberries. His willingness to laugh at himself created a bond with readers across centuries. They sensed that they were not mere students of philosophy, but fellow travelers on a shared journey toward understanding life's complexities. This spirit of candid camaraderie turned each essay into a mirror reflecting the universal mix of strength and fragility in every human heart. Montaigne's legacy reverberates through time and across disciplines. His radical honesty anticipated psychological practices like mindfulness and journaling, which emphasize non-judgmental observation of one's inner life. Contemporary therapists recognize the healing power of naming thoughts and emotions without shame, an approach Montaigne modeled centuries ago. Meanwhile, writers and thinkers from Emerson to Virginia Woolf have acknowledged his influence, adopting his intimate essay style to explore their own experiences. By revealing his humanity in all its meannesses, Montaigne gifted future generations a blueprint for authentic self-exploration. As you continue this journey, consider adopting Montaigne's mirror as a daily companion. Each morning or evening, set aside a few minutes to jot down unfiltered thoughts in a private journal. When certainty tempts you, ask Q says G, and welcome the gaps in your knowledge as opportunities for discovery. Notice conflicting emotions without judging them, and recognize that changing your mind is a sign of growth rather than weakness. Over time, you will learn to live not in spite of questions, but because of them, finding in each uncertainty a fresh spark of insight as you begin to practice these Montaigne-inspired rituals. You may notice shifts in your inner landscape. Awareness replaces agitation, and the habitual tension that clung to every unexpected moment begins to ease. This preparatory phase lays the groundwork for a deeper exploration of impermanence in Chapter 3, where we will learn how embracing change can transform apprehension into empowerment. Let your journal become a sanctuary, a space for fearless inquiry. In Montaigne's mirror, you glimpse not only who you are today, but who you might become tomorrow, and in that reflection lies the promise of genuine freedom and flourishing. The paradox of resistance: when we attempt to seize every thread of life, binding them to our will, we unwittingly tighten the noose of our own making. Anxiety thrives on resistance. The more vigorously we strive to prevent unwanted outcomes, the stronger our obsession with control becomes. Consider a child playing in a sandbox. If you press your hand into the shifting grains, the sand molds to your grip and resists your shape. When you remove your hand, the sand collapses and scatters unpredictably, reminding you that no matter how tightly you cling to certainty, the nature of change will always prevail. You may believe that controlling outcomes protects you from suffering. Yet life is woven from change, risk, and spontaneity. Each moment contains unknown variables and unsent message. An unanticipated encounter, a momentary lapse in attention that defy your intentions. Struggling against these realities exacts an immense price, heightened vigilance, chronic stress, and a brittle self-image built on illusions of certainty. Over time, this brittle facade cracks under pressure, revealing a deeper insecurity, the realization that your identity and self-worth were built on unstable ground. Modern neuroscience reveals how this cycle perpetuates itself in the brain. When you perceive a threat real or imagine the amygdala, the brain's ancient alarm center triggers a fight or flight response. Stress hormones flood your bloodstream, sharpening your focus on danger and narrowing cognitive flexibility. If you habitually greet minor surprises as catastrophic, this alarm system remains on high alert long after the crisis passes. A cue baseline stress level rises, impairing decision-making, memory, and leaving you reactive rather than thoughtful. In critical moments, yet decades of psychological research suggest a powerful antidote. Curiosity. Curiosity signals safety. It invites exploration rather than defense. Each time you meet uncertainty with genuine interests asking, "What can I learn here?" you weaken the bond between ambiguity and alarm. Neuroscientists have observed that curious engagement activates the brain's dopamine pathways, reducing amygdala reactivity and restoring prefrontal cortex function. In practice, this means that novel or unexpected situations foster growth instead of triggering panic, allowing you to engage with novelty openly. Practically speaking, the process begins with mindful awareness. Notice the first flicker of tension. When plans go awry, is your chest tightening? Are intrusive thoughts pulling you into worst-case scenarios? Acknowledge these sensations without self-criticism. Label them in a neutral tone. Anxiety is here. Then pause and shift focus to your breath. Inhale slowly, feeling expansion in your ribs. Exhale completely, releasing muscle tension. This simple act interrupts the feedback loop between fear and bodily tension, giving you space to choose your response rather than react. Automatically, another transformative strategy is cognitive reframing. When discordant thoughts arise, "This shouldn't happen," pause and gently rephrase, "This is happening, and I can adapt." Notice how this linguistic shift transforms your mindset from adversary to ally. You do not ignore challenges. You acknowledge reality and choose to engage constructively. Over time, reframing becomes intuitive, helping you navigate setbacks with resilience rather than frustration, and fostering a problem-solving orientation that strengthens your ability to pivot quickly when obstacles arise and builds lasting confidence. Stories often illustrate abstract concepts more vividly than lectures. The legend of the oak and the reed provides an enduring lesson. In a fierce gale, the mighty oak stands rigid, its trunk unyielding until its branches snap under the relentless wind. The supple reed, by contrast, bends and sways before the storm, surviving intact when the tempest passes. Strength, this tale teaches, lies not in immovable resistance, but in flexible adaptability. When you identify with the oak unyielding in the face of relentless change, risking collapse under pressures, that flexibility would withstand. You learn the power of yielding over resistance. Self-reflection enhances this transformation. At day's end, consider a moment when you resisted an unexpected event. Did your heart race as you resisted the inconvenience? How did your body feel afterwards? Tight, drained, tired? Then recall a moment of acceptance, a detour you navigated. Calmly, an unplanned conversation you greeted with curiosity, or a spontaneous change in schedule you embraced. Reflect on how these responses influenced your mood and energy. Recording these observations in a brief daily journal transforms fleeting insights into enduring wisdom, guiding you toward greater ease with each passing day. Group support can also accelerate progress. Sharing experiences of uncertainty with trusted friends or peers often reveals a deeper truth. None of us are alone in our struggles. When you admit your anxieties and listen to others recount their own, you dismantle the illusion that uncertainty is a personal flaw. Collective vulnerability fosters empathy, reminding you that imperfection is universal, not a mark of weakness. In supportive communities, whether a writing group, meditation circle, or trusted friends, you create a network where acceptance of uncertainty becomes a collective strength and source of solace. Consider a musician, practicing a challenging piece. When she demands perfect execution every time, each mistake breeds frustration and self-doubt. But if she views errors as chances to explore new phrasing and expression, her playing deepens and her confidence grows. This dance with uncertainty shows how letting go of absolute control can unlock creativity and resilience. By accepting imperfections, you transform obstacles into catalysts for innovation. This principle applies in work, relationships, growth. As you integrate these practices, mindful awareness, cognitive reframing, curiosity, reflective journaling, community support, you build mental habits that sustain resilience. Control no longer means eliminating risk. It means cultivating adaptability. You'll learn to anticipate life's shifts not as threats to your stability, but as opportunities for growth and discovery. Every unexpected twist becomes a door ajar, training you to step into uncharted territory with courage and creativity. The paradox of resistance then reveals itself. In loosening your grip on certainty, you gain a steadier hold on life's essence. By relinquishing the illusion of omnipotence, you reclaim the power of presence and choice. The world remains unpredictable, but your capacity to engage with it flourishes. In Chapter 4, we will explore concrete rituals and daily exercises designed to embed this mindset deeply into your life, forging a foundation of inner freedom that no external circumstance can shake. Cultivating inner rituals. Having seen how resistance stokes anxiety and how Montaigne's humility opens the door to curiosity, we now turn to the concrete routines that anchor your mind in freedom. Just as a sailor trims the sails before embarking on a voyage, You need daily practices inner rituals that equip you to navigate life's unpredictable seas. These rituals are not rigid prescriptions, but flexible frameworks you adapt to your temperament and schedule. Over time, they rewire your responses to uncertainty, transforming instinctive fear into mindful engagement. 1. Question. Your certainties begin each morning by revisiting your deepest assumptions. Before checking email or social media, pause for 2 minutes and ask, what am I certain of right now? It might be that you're sure you'll perform well at work, that you must achieve a certain goal today, or that a relationship should proceed according to plan. Write each certainty on a separate line in a journal. Then, for each statement, add a question mark at the end and jot down one reason why it might be false. For example, I will meet today's deadline gives what if an unexpected task arises that diverts my time. I must feel calm all day gives is it realistic to expect zero discomfort in human life? This simple inversion invites doubt as a creative force rather than a threat, perpetually questioning convictions, even small ones. You weaken the reflex to cling to certainty and cultivate a mindset open to learning. 2. Practice reflective journaling. Montaigne treated his essays as a mirror to his mind. You can do the same on a smaller scale with daily journaling. Set aside 10 minutes each evening to record your most vivid emotional experiences of the day. Follow 3 steps. Describe the event. Note what happened, focusing on sensory details, sounds, sights. Bodily sensations. Name your reaction. Identify the emotion, anxiety, joy, frustration. Then rate its intensity on a scale of 1 to 10. Explore without judgment. Ask yourself, what did this emotion want to tell me? And what can I learn from its presence? For instance, if a sudden project change triggers irritation, observe how your shoulders tightened and your mind leaped to worst-case scenarios. Then jot down, irritation arose because I felt my competence might be judged. Perhaps this is an invitation to clarify expectations rather than resist them. This ritual transforms reactive patterns into conscious choices. 3. Embrace impermanence. Through flexible planning, rigid to-do lists can backfire when life intervenes. Instead, draft a floating agenda. Group your tasks by theme rather than fixed time slots. For example, morning focus, creative or strategic work. Afternoon focus, collaborative calls or meeting. Evening focus, reflection and planning within each block. List priority items without assigning exact hours. If an unexpected meeting arises, you simply shift tasks within the same block, preserving the intention without collapsing your structure. At the end of each week, review which items remained unfinished. Celebrate your adaptability rather than chastise yourself. This ritual trains your mind to view plans as helpful guides, not immovable decrees. 4. Cultivate humor in daily life. Montaigne laughed at his own vanity and paradoxes, modeling self-compassion through humor. To practice this, keep a quirk journal, a light-hearted log of your small missteps and amusing contradictions. Whenever you catch yourself overreacting or slipping into control frenzy, tried a one-sentence note. Tried to micromanage my coffee break schedule. Forgot the coffee. Searched for perfect lighting for video call. Laptop died first. Review these entries weekly. Smiling at your own humanity diffuses tension and reminds you that imperfection is universal. Sharing a funny anecdote with a friend or partner also strengthens social bonds. Making uncertainty a collective jest rather than a solitary burden. 5. Reserve moments of silence in an age of constant stimulation. Deliberate solitude becomes revolutionary. Create a mini retreat ritual twice daily. 5 minutes of uninterrupted silence without phone, music, or reading. Find a comfortable seat, close your eyes, and simply observe breath or ambient sounds. If your mind wanders into future worries or past regrets, gently guide it back to present awareness, as you would coax a curious child back to play. Over time, these silent intervals expand your tolerance for stillness, reducing the reflexive urge to fill every gap with activity or anxiety. 6. Anchor in community. Even Montaigne prized friendship as a catalyst for self-knowledge. Invite a trusted friend or colleague to join you in a weekly uncertainty check-in. Share one personal area where control feels most urgent. Work deadlines, family dynamics, health concerns, and discuss how each of you coped with unexpected changes. Offer mutual encouragement and brainstorm small experiments in letting go. This accountability transforms abstract rituals into shared commitments, easing the loneliness that often underlies anxiety. 7. Weaving rituals into routine to integrate these practices seamlessly. Anchor them to established habits. Pair the morning questioning ritual with your first cup of tea and follow it immediately by updating your floating agenda. Link reflective journaling to your bedtime routine, maybe alongside brushing your teeth or listening to soft music. Bed humor by keeping your quirk journal next to your work computer so it's always within reach. Silence can accompany waiting periods. Pause in your car before turning on the engine. Or sit quietly for a moment when you step into your home. Over weeks, these rituals become as automatic as opening an email, yet they rewire your mind toward flexibility. 8. The ripple effect of inner freedom. As these rituals take root, you'll notice subtle yet profound shifts. Small disturbances, a traffic delay, a critical comment, a sudden change no longer derail your equilibrium. Instead, you greet them with curiosity or levity, recognizing each moment as an invitation to practice your inner work. Your energy, once dissipated by futile resistance, converges on meaningful engagement, creative projects, deep conversations, genuine rest. You become, in effect, a living testament to the power of flowing with life rather than battling against it. By cultivating these inner rituals, questioning certainties, reflective journaling, flexible planning, humor, silence, and community support, you construct a resilient foundation beneath the ever-shifting ground of existence. These practices do not eliminate uncertainty, okay? They transform it into a dynamic partner on your journey. In Chapter 5, we will explore how embracing doubt as a source of freedom leads to a profound sense of presence and peace, revealing how Montaigne's wisdom culminates in the liberation of living lightly within life's great mystery. Freedom through doubt. At the center of Montaigne's philosophy lies a radical redefinition of freedom, not as the power to bend the world to your will, but as the capacity to live unburdened by the need for absolute answers. In our quest for certainty, we often mistake conviction for security, believing that unwavering beliefs will anchor our identity against life's shifting tides. Yet every rigid conviction creates blind spot areas where nuance and complexity cannot penetrate. Doubt, by contrast, opens the door to continual discovery, inviting humility, curiosity, and genuine connection with the world. Through the practices, you have cultivated questioning certainties, reflective journaling, flexible planning, humor, silence, and community. You are now ready to embrace doubt itself as a source of liberation. 1. Reconceptualizing doubt carries a stigma in modern culture, where self-help mantras exhort us to believe in yourself without caveat. And social media amplifies voices that speak with unshakable certainty. Yet doubt is not the opposite of belief. It is its complement. Where belief fosters action through conviction, doubt provides the space for reflection, preventing destructive fanaticism and dogmatism. Consider doubt as the mind's internal compass, continuously calibrating your direction. When you admit, "I may be wrong," you create a margin for course correction and intellectual elasticity that keeps you responsive to new evidence and fresh perspectives. 2. The practice of "I don't know" in daily life. Adopt Montaigne's simple but potent phrase, "I don't know." Let it serve as both shield and invitation. When confronted with a complex decision whether to confront a colleague, respond to a family conflict, or invest in a new venture, begin by mentally prefacing your thoughts with "I don't know." For instance, "I don't know exactly how my colleague will react to direct feedback, but I can express my concerns respectfully and observe what unfolds." This admission relieves the pressure to predict every outcome perfectly. By acknowledging ignorance, you open the space for listening deeply to the other person's perspective, inviting genuine dialogue rather than defensive posturing. You become less invested in defending a preconceived position and more attuned to emerging possibilities. 3. Doubt as creative catalyst. Artists and innovators have long understood doubt's generative power. Pablo Picasso remarked, "Inspiration exists, but it has to find you working." Doubt fuels that work, the willingness to try, fail, and revise. In writing, doubt stops you from submitting your first draft as gospel. It compels revision, deepening clarity and nuance. In scientific research, doubt drives hypothesis testing. Only by questioning assumptions can you refine theories and approach truth asymptotically. By reframing doubt as fuel for creativity, you transform discomfort into forward motion. When uncertainty arises in your projects, greet it as a prompt to explore alternative methods, experiment, and iterate until unexpected insights emerge. 4. Cultivating Socratic conversations. Socrates, Montaigne's philosophical forebear, claimed that wisdom begins in recognizing one's ignorance. He practiced dialectic inquiry, asking questions to reveal contradictions in assumed truths. You can apply this method in everyday conversations. Instead of asserting opinions as irrefutable facts, pose open-ended questions. What leads you to that conclusion? How might we view this situation differently? What experiences shaped your perspective? By shifting from debate to inquiry, you foster mutual exploration. This approach diffuses defensiveness and builds rapport, turning disagreements into collaborative investigations. In group settings, introduce a question round before decision-making. Each person shares one uncertainty they hold about the topic. Collectively, these doubts map the hidden assumptions in play, clarifying blind spots and guiding more robust outcomes. 5. Emotional freedom. Through uncertainty, believing that you must have definitive answers fosters emotional rigidity. Insist that happiness arises only when conditions align perfectly. Financial security, career success, stable relationships. But life seldom conforms to such neat formulas. When circumstances deviate, you experience not just disappointment, but identity crisis. If I'm not successful by these metrics, who am I? Doubt liberates you from this trap. By holding your understanding of happiness as provisional, you grant yourself permission to redefine fulfillment in each phase of life. On challenging days, remind yourself, I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I can choose gratitude for the present moment. This stance softens the blow of setbacks and opens you to savor simple joys that rigid targets might overlook. 6. The role of compassionate doubt need not target only external ideas. It can be an instrument of self-compassion. When you catch yourself in self-criticism, I should have done better, I must achieve perfection, apply the same questioning. Do I truly know that one mistake defines my worth? Could I? Afford myself the same understanding I'd offer a friend. These internal inquiries dismantle harsh self-judgments, replacing them with kindness and perspective. Over time, you cultivate an internal dialogue marked not by condemnation, but by supportive inquiry. What do I need right now? Nurturing resilience and emotional well-being. 7. Anchoring doubt in ritual to ensure doubt remains a skill, not an occasional insight. Weave it into your existing rituals. Morning certainty check. Include one statement beginning with, I don't know. For example, I don't know what opportunities today may bring. Reflective journaling. At day's end, write one area where your beliefs were challenged and how you responded with curiosity. Floating agenda review. Identify one task where you admit, I don't know the best approach, and commit to learning through experimentation. Socratic sharing. In weekly check-ins, each person shares a question they currently grapple with rather than a solution they've found. Embedding doubt in structured practices ensures it becomes second nature, a trusty companion rather than an occasional visitor. 8. The promise of freedom as doubt integrates into your life. You will notice transformative shifts. Decisions once fraught with fear become opportunities for learning. Conversations that might have spiraled into conflict become collaborative quests for insight. Emotional storms subside when you release the illusion that every feeling must be understood and controlled. In place of anxiety's rigid grip, you discover a fluid steadiness, an ability to flow with life's currents while maintaining your inner compass. This new freedom does not mean abdicating responsibility or succumbing to passivity. Rather, it empowers you to act decisively from a place of clarity, unencumbered by the burden of absolute certainty. You choose your path with openness to feedback, ready to refine your course as you gather new information. In this way, doubt becomes not a hindrance but the engine of authentic agency. Conclusion: the ongoing journey. Montaigne embraced doubt as his guide to living well. His mirror showed that being human involves perpetual questioning, not relentless asserting. By welcoming uncertainty, you step into the rich, uncharted territory of genuine experience where growth, connection, and creativity thrive as you move forward. Let I don't know be your ally. That this admission of humility is the wellspring of wisdom. In each uncertain moment, feel the exhilarating freedom that doubt provides, the freedom to learn, to adapt, and to engage life fully in all its unpredictable glory.